Hello, everyone. I am Fred Oakman, and here with me is Mr. Jake Peters. You're listening to PS This Is Awesome. We're a PlayStation podcast. This is episode 354, where we dive into our thoughts on all things PlayStation. And before we jump in, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/PSThisIsAwesome, where you can also watch the video version of the podcast. And you can also check out our trophy list on the PSN. I'm Anchorless_81, and Jake is JakeSaw01. You can send your thoughts to psthisisawesome at gmail.com and share the show with friends. And don't forget to rate us. And for just $1 on Patreon, you can join the one and only $1 club and receive a die-cut vinyl sticker, plus get a shout-out on the show. You can visit patreon.com/PSThisIsAwesome to support us. And now through the end of December, we're running a deal for the first month subscription for 25% off. You can use code 25OFF. In addition, you can now gift our show to a friend by going to patreon.com/PSThisIsAwesome/gift, which also will include the free sticker and a shout out. And remember, if you do like the podcast, it does us a lot of good if you can like, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube videos. And you have LJ to thank for that little blurb. But please do that. Like, comment, subscribe. Help us out with the algorithm. With out of the way, Jake, how are you doing on this snowy Monday?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. The weather's been weird. I mean, we haven't gotten, people who, I mean, I don't know how many listeners we have that aren't relatively familiar with where we're at, but we live in sort of a weird part of the world where we can be, it might be sunny and no weather, green grass, everything, and literally 30 minutes away, there's 4 feet of snow on the ground. And that's kind of what we got this weekend. My brother lives up in Erie, and he got somewhere in the neighborhood over the between Friday to Sunday, somewhere in the neighborhood of like 4 feet of snow. And we got, until this morning, we didn't have any snow at our house at all.
Right.
It was totally bare green grass, maybe a little like flurries and stuff or whatever, but nothing really on the ground. So
Right.
Pretty wild. I mean, they closed the highways. There were freaking cars backed up and shit. It never ceases to amaze me what people are willing to drive through or like think that they can drive through, because it said for like 2 days, or at least a day prior to Friday, that in that area, basically north of us to Lake Erie, it literally said in the weather warning that travel would be impossible. The snow was supposed to be so bad. And yet there were still so many people traveling that it was basically a gridlock from Ohio to New York on 90. And I was talking to someone at work about it today, and they were saying that the snow was so deep the plow trucks couldn't even push it.
Yeah.
So they had to essentially go sideways on the road. So they would push it off the side of the road, move up a few feet, push it off the side of the road, and then you've got miles and miles of cars backed up behind this, waiting for the trucks to literally go 5 feet at a time plowing off the road. And still getting snow. So yeah, we got more snow here today, I think. I mean, I think they're still getting snow up there, but we got, I don't know. The weather was getting kind of bad when I was driving home today, but
Same.
Maybe like an inch or two at the house. Nothing really worth writing about. So yeah, I mean, other than that, it was a good Thanksgiving. Spent some time with some family. We didn't have everyone together, but I went over to my grandparents' house. Sarah and I did, and we ended up leaving a little bit earlier than we normally would because I was so worried. Everyone was so worried about the weather. Like they said, even at our house, we were going to get like 2 feet of snow. And that obviously didn't end up happening. But, I told my grandma, I was like, hey, I'm sorry, but like we got to get home so I can check to make sure that like I've got gas in the four-wheeler, the plow's working, that we've got everything we need in case we get this much snow. I can't be like just winging it into a 2 feet of snow or whatever.
Right.
So our Thanksgiving, I say it was cut a little bit short. We were still there for a few hours. It's not like we were only there for half an hour and then left or something.
Mm-hmm.
But then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, basically I spent the whole time painting and working on the house and shopping for groceries and doing all kinds of shit. So it's been busy, but it was a nice little 4-day weekend for sure.
Yeah.
How about you? Did you have a good holiday?
Yeah, it was fine. Didn't do a whole lot that we normally don't do. Just spent time with family. Try to take advantage of some sales. Not a whole lot of things that I wanted to buy, but things that I needed to buy. For instance, I got a guitar case for my Les Paul because the old case, the backing of it, that plywood stuff, is just ripping off the back. And I bought one of those Gator cases on sale. So cases for guitars aren't fucking cheap, dude. It's not like a romantic thing to buy either. It's just like, what'd you get? I got a guitar case. It's like fucking awesome. It doesn't do anything. I got some strings. I picked up. I'm excited. I told you earlier. I got a desk mounted boom stand for the podcast on sale. I'm excited to get rid of this because I'm always bumping this thing with my leg, and it's always like straight across, and this thing right here is in my face, and like I hope that I can mitigate some of those issues with what I figure out what I'm going to try to do. We'll see. I don't know, but I've wanted one for a long time, and I figured I'd pull the plug. And what else did I get? Music related stuff. That's pretty much it. I don't know. I got a couple pair of pants for work. Black Friday deals. Yeah, dude, and a pizza cutter that I really wanted. Not the rolly kind, but the kind you see at Domino's, like they do the pizza cutting like that. It was like $12. I was excited about that. Anyways, as if I need to eat any more pizza. But those are my deals. That's what I did over the weekend. That, and did not play Hero Quest because we're going into a new campaign. Return of the Witch Lord, and it's one of the original quest packs for Hero Quest. But one of the gaming dudes, his son bagged a doe, and they had to dress it, so that cut into Hero Quest Day. And then also our other buddy Grady, who plays, was snowed in Erie, Pennsylvania, which made national news, by the way. All the snow that they got there, so it was all over the news. It was pretty low key. Didn't sleep as much as I wanted to. I had trouble sleeping every night. I don't know what's up with that. But outside of that, I mean, everything's smooth on my end. Just driving in this shit is not going to be fun tomorrow morning. So, my car, dude. I'm having issues with my car. So I'm driving home from work. And I'm going, and I hear like, brrr, like I hit a rumble strip. I'm like, I've been on this road a million times. I know there's not rumble strips there. What just happened? And I go a little bit longer, and I hear, brrr, and then it's fine. And then all of a sudden, it's like, brrr, the whole trip. And I pulled off, and I'm like, my exhaust disconnected from the manifold, or like I punctured it, or something happened. And it's an older car. It's an 09. And I crawled underneath it to look to see if anything was hanging off, and nothing looked disconnected. So, and the sound that it hit, and the sound was coming from underneath, like the front of the car. So it blew off of the initial connection, or rusted out there, or something happened. And so my initial thought is I'm just sucking in carbon monoxide. I didn't smell any, but I'm just like, this is coming right up through my heating vents and like into my car. It's like 20 fucking degrees, and I'm like thinking I'm breathing this shit in. So I put the window down. And like, I don't want to pass out. But in addition, it's a hatchback, so it's a smaller car. Dude, this thing in fourth gear, hits some sort of, I don't even know, audio spectral fucking level that like I literally need to wear earplugs when I'm driving the car. It hurt. Like I went and saw Phoenix and Buffalo, and their low bass rumbles, you could feel it in your chest. And there's just something about the frequency of this muffler exhaust issue that like, and I've been around a lot of music, man. My back was like rumbling with the fucking sound. And like, it was just, I couldn't hear my radio. It was like the perfect frequency where it just fucking hurt. It wasn't loud. It was just the frequency that it was just like, it fucking hurts to drive that car right now. So it's Ed and that's why we're recording a little bit later today. I got an appointment to have it looked at. So I'm terrified after this AC issue where I had to spend like $2,000 to fix the AC unit. This is gonna cost me easily $1,000. If it's rusted through, I need a whole new exhaust system. It's just gonna fuck. So happy holidays to Fred. Glad I didn't buy a PS5 Pro.
Yeah, well, it depends if it's just broken and they can fix it for a couple $100. But if you have to get a whole new exhaust system, I mean your car's fucking tiny. It shouldn't be that expensive. But I mean it could be $1,000. But just so you know, I mean like you were talking about breathing carbon monoxide, that's not how cars work. So you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Cuz you could have the manifold ripped off at the engine.
Yeah.
And that shit couldn't get into your car unless you had like a hole into your vehicle,
which I might
elsewhere. But then you would be hearing like wind from, like shit blowing into your car. Honestly, you were probably more likely to get exhaust into your car by driving with your windows down than having it sealed up.
Dude, that thing was so loud and embarrassing.
Dude,
the whole way home.
I know. Sarah's car's exhaust broke over the summer, and they do a lot to in those. People don't think about the exhaust system and what it really does, but there's a lot of design and engineering that goes into like the resonator and the muffler to make it so that it's as quiet as it is when you go down the road. Because if you just cut that bitch off right behind the engine, it is really fucking loud. And the way that
dude, it like shakes my car. It's so loud.
Well, and that's the other thing too, is like the way that like your car is all sealed up and everything. Yeah. It certain RPMs and stuff, it will like get like a resonance point, and it's really gross. But yeah, that sucks. Hopefully, did you actually take it to an exhaust place, or did you take it to just some random shop?
No, I took it out to Dick Allen's. They just did my oil change. The reason I like that place, and I'll give them a plug on here, they've always been fair with the price. But in addition, they're like one of those garages that you walk in, and like you don't even know where to fucking go. There's just shit laying everywhere. There's like tools, there's people milling about, and it's just like there's a dog. There's always a dog just hanging out trying to lick you. And it's like, this is where I need to be taking my car, because these guys like shit, eat, live, breathe fucking automobiles here. Like that's what they fucking do, And like they're not there to rip anyone off. They're going to be honest. And like, I had last year for inspection, I needed a new hanger for my exhaust. I needed a new ball joint. I needed the rocker panels patched, and I got a state inspection. It was like less than $400, and I'm just like, okay, you guys have my loyalty, because any other place would have put all that shit on a fucking itinerary or inventory thing or whatever, and be like, okay, this is like $860, $870.
Yeah.
So they're honest, and I think I got an oil change too with all that shit. Anyways, yeah, I did actually. So state inspection, a new ball joint, rocker panels, an exhaust hanger, and an oil change for like less than $300. The thing is
dude, if you can find a mechanic like that, that is something special. Unfortunately, I think that those types of mechanics are disappearing.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
don't
my whole
know
family was
that,
full of them. Yeah, my grandpa
I
died.
don't
My
I
uncle
don't
does it.
know I don't know that you're going to be able to mean the royal you are going to be able to find mechanics that are willing to work like that forever, just because they're so overwhelmed with business and everything like that. And it's just, like I can't tell you how many times there was a guy that did my car work for a while that I haven't been able to go to him for years now, but anytime I'd ever got my brakes done, it was like $400. And then I went to this guy and he was like, yeah, it's like $200. And I'm like,
What?
I'm like, all right, that's awesome. And then after I had my brakes done, I had like a pulsation kind of issue, and I took it back to him. And he was like, oh yeah, it's just a warranty issue on the brake pads or whatever. And took the car in, changed them out, fixed everything up, didn't charge me any more money or whatever. And yeah, I think it's just, there are like people that are just doing it because it's a job, and there are people that really enjoy it and they really know a lot about it because they care.
And those people usually can work quicker, so their labor rate might be the same, but they're getting the job done quicker because they know their shit.
Yeah, dude. Some places though are a racket. Like the Mazda dealer that I have to go to for my car, their labor rate is like $250 an hour.
Oh, dude, that's fucked up. I think the standard for like your mom and pop shop, the standard labor rate's probably close to like $65 or $70 an hour. I think
it's probably it's probably around 70.
Yeah,
and they actually like body shops and places that do a lot of insurance work.
Mm-hmm.
The insurance companies actually dictate the labor rates, which is kind of fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's
But you go to a dealership, dude.
It's worth it though.
Yeah. But you go to a dealership,
but some things,
it's always going to...
Some things you can't really avoid, though. You kind of have to go to the dealership, which sucks.
Yeah,
but
especially if you have like an electric car now or something like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You got to fucking take it to like a professional.
It's crazy.
Yeah, you can't go to the guy who has a shed out back where he's just turning wrenches. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Anyways, well, we're not here to talk about all that shite. We are here to talk about video games. So... I guess every episode we talk about, well, for those just tuning in for the first time, we air every Wednesday on your preferred streaming platform, including YouTube. If you want the episodes early, you can do that by joining the one and only $1 Club on Patreon. So, that being said, we're recording this on Monday. All the patrons of the show will get it at least a day early. And let's get into games that we are playing. Jake, every episode we talk about games that we're diving into. We don't always have a ton of time throughout the week to play games. And I'm still working my way through Metro Awakening in VR2. I am now halfway officially through the game, chapter 6 of 12. These VR games take a little extra out of you, so they tend to last a little longer. I think, I get in there and I play it for a bit and I get through a chapter or through a part and I think the chapter's over and it's like, fuck, man, I got to take the headset off. Because this game's a little spooky and it leans a bit on your anxiety. You know what I mean? Because you're getting attacked, you're crawling through ductwork. You're also doing you're shooting fake neo-Nazi guys, and like you're always looking over your shoulder, and you're backtracking. You're going through places you've already been. You're climbing ladders, doing all the shit. You're charging the fucking the thing to open doors, and it's just like, an hour of that a pop is enough for me, But I'm getting through that. I'm still really enjoying it. They seem to have fixed the issue with the guns. I did have a part recently. They do the thing. There's a little bit of rail shooting, which makes sense because you're on the metro, so you can get on like one of those carts. And it starts going, and I was going, and I was like, all right, we're going to the next location, and then I heard, and I turned around, and there's this big fucking thing latched onto the back. What I didn't realize was there was like a mounted machine gun on the back of this cart. Didn't even notice it. So I turned around, and I couldn't get it around to shoot the guy because he was kind of on the cart already, so I pulled my pistol out, and I grabbed the thing, and these guys are racing out. It was really fucking rad. That was a good experience, but then I ran into a situation where I kept dying. It started pissing me off. I had a similar kind of gun. An alarm went off, and all these guys came out. And wow, Yeah, they definitely were trained on my location, and you had to get to them before they could get to you. And they would just kind of keep popping out of these doorways. And there was one guy who came up on the top left. There was a balcony. He came out twice, or a guy came out twice up there, and your focus is dead ahead. And you're trying to like mitigate all these guys, and you're throwing fucking grenades, you're shooting, and you're crouching, you're trying to inject yourself with health, and like, dude, I died probably fucking 8 times on that part, and I was about ready to quit. And I was like, if I don't fucking beat these guys, and you're trying to be like conscientious of like your personal weapons, but you don't want this weapon to run out. You don't want to use all your grenades, but like you don't really have a choice. They just flood you with guys, and it's just literally survival. And it was a really difficult part of the game, the hardest part of the game so far. I've enjoyed that game. If you have a VR2 and you're looking for a cool experience, I think it's a good, especially if you're into the Metro world. It's really, really, really a nice touch to the platform. I'm also kind of combing through The Last of Us Part 2 remake on PS5. I don't know what made me want to play it. I got into it. I had already started a game a while back and early on, and I just powered it up because I was looking for something to play at the end of the night, and I was like, man, this game's so fucking good. It's just so good. The quality, the artwork, the photo mode, the dialogue, the story, the gameplay, is so good. It just looks so good. I know a lot of people take issue with this game, and I'm just fucking over it. I'm over all the haters on this game. It's fucking great. Show me a fucking better game as far as like AAA quality. I'm not saying that there aren't better shooters. I am maybe saying that there's few games that hit narratively like this game does. The audio is fantastic. The gameplay's good. The environment, the artwork, the environment. The Last of Us Part 2 is a really fucking great gem to have in the catalog. It's a great game. And every time I get on Reddit, somebody's fucking shitting on this game. Like we got a story later on about, we'll talk a little bit more in depth about Troy Baker coming back to Naughty Dog for the next game that they're working on. Who knows what game, but people in the Last of Us subreddit are just like, way to confirm that The Last of Us 3 is going to suck or something. And it's like, what the fuck is your problem? Like, are you kidding me? They're like, I can't believe this. And they're like, I can't believe this guy's getting any more fucking jobs. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, that's the stance you're going to take? Like, I don't know what Troy Baker did. I think at one point, he said something about supporting, it wasn't Bitcoin. It was that other shit that was big for a while. Like the in-game, not even in-game. It was like you buy like an avatar or something. And it was like a one-of-a-kind bitmap or something. What the fuck was all that shit?
Oh, yeah.
What were those things called?
Now that you're like, if you literally hadn't said that, if you literally hadn't asked me, I would have been able to tell you right away.
But you know what I mean.
But yeah, it's not. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It doesn't even matter. Anyways, like he said something at one point about how he was going to be working with a studio that was implementing those into games and how he thought it was an interesting thing, and he got fucking blacklisted. And they're like, you don't realize how bad this is for the gaming community and just for the world in general. Pulls on resources. I'll tell you what, if anybody has any investments in fucking Bitcoin, go to fucking hell if you're ripping on Troy Baker for like saying something about this shit. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, it's just so ridiculous. Like, I don't know. How can you live a perfectly... NFTs, yeah. How can you possibly live an altruistic life in today's world? You can do the best you can, but this guy is not even arguably one of the best voice actors that we have. You can't believe that he's getting work? Whatever. Anyways, loving The Last of Us Part 2. Also... dip my toes back into the Darkest Dungeon 2 world. Another game that I was worried about getting back into because it's not an easy game, but it is surprisingly easy just to pick back up. So I never beat the first one. I haven't beat the second one, but I love these games. And I didn't get enough. I have like 45 hours in of Darkest Dungeon 2. So it's getting back a little bit of rotation. I still haven't beat Astrobot, so I still haven't played the G.I. Joe game. Fuck, man. I've got too much shit to do. But anyways, that's where I'm at in my gaming catalog. Jake, what about you?
I don't know. I don't even know. Same games I've been playing. Some
Metaphor?
Half-Life Alyx, some Metaphor. I'm like almost 60 hours into Metaphor. I'm kind of ripping through it. I'm trying to kind of get done with it, but I actually over break was playing a lot of Black Ops 6.
Yeah.
And I'm like right at the end of the game. The campaign's doing some shit that I don't really care for. It's like the same problem I had with Black Ops 3 when I was complaining about that back in the day. And I don't know if that is a Black Ops trope now. Because the original Call of Duty Black Ops is like one of my favorite Call of Duty campaigns. It's so fucking good. And then, and I don't remember if I played 2, but Black Ops 3 did this weird shit at the end, and Black Ops 6 is doing the same thing, and so I'm not really sure about it. But I don't want to really say what it is because it's I can't really say anything without spoiling anything. But
That's fun.
I mean, it's still fun. Like the gameplay's still fun. I'm still interested in what's going on with the characters and everything.
Right.
Yeah, I'm pretty close to being done with that. I should maybe have like another hour or 2 left in the game. It seems like I'm on the last mission or whatever. And then, or like maybe even the second to last mission. But it's really cool. Like I like all the different like gadgets and these little open world. They have like a couple little like open worldy kind of areas and where you can just kind of tackle it however you want. Mm-hmm. But it's not like this. It's like this like really massive thing. It'll be like a small semi-open kind of like think about like Ground Zeroes, like that style map where it's like a prison.
Yeah.
And like you go in there and it's like I've got 3 objectives and I can conquer each objective multiple ways and you just kind of mill around, sneaking around trying to figure out the best way to do things, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
But yeah, other than that, nothing really. I spent some of my free time working on some music stuff that we're doing for the flood, so I didn't spend all my free time playing games.
We can talk about that
this
if
break,
you want.
but yeah. So, another thing I did do, not game related but multimedia related, is that Sarah and I watched Alien Romulus over the weekend, and I gotta say I was impressed. When I saw the very first trailer for it, I was like, I don't know. And then I heard good things about it, so we watched it over the weekend, and it was pretty good. I mean, it's very gory and everything, very alien heavy.
That's what you want, though, right? In an alien
I will say, to be honest though, like my favorite one is the first one, where you only see the alien like in the last 5 minutes of the movie. It's like all off-screen kills and character building and shit like that. And we were talking about it a little bit after the movie was over, and I realized that there's this thing that movies are starting to do now that doesn't jive with me.
Okay.
And I don't know if you can relate to this. And it's that movies don't have, or at least a lot of the movies that I've seen recently, especially action or horror focused movies, they don't have a proper like build to a crescendo and then an ending. Mm-hmm. It's like Alien basically starts out some world building stuff for like the first 25% of the movie, then ramp to 11, stay there for fucking 40 or 75% of the movie,
Marvel
and
movie.
Then end.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's like what, and the thing is that because there's no like slow build, what happens is that like you start at 11, and then it's like, and I don't know if you know what I mean by this, but we were just kind of joking about like And then another thing happens, and then another thing happens, and then it's like, oh, I figured out the puzzle, but then the thing blew up, and then I solved the thing that blew up, and then the fucking alien was born, and then, you know what I mean? And it's like, it just feels like they try to keep you ratcheted to 11 the entire fucking movie and constantly just kick you back down the stairs.
Yeah, right.
And it's like,
you want the payoff.
As much as I liked the movie, I prefer there to be like a build and then this big like thing that happens. Maybe it peaks and then comes back down and then peaks again. That's fine. But then there's like a payoff and it's like whatever. But it seems like so many movies now are just like, they get into the action really fast and then they just fucking stay there.
They just splooge the whole time. Yeah.
And it doesn't give your emotions a break. But yeah, I mean, that's the only other thing I guess that I really have to talk about. I think
I want to watch the new Gladiator movie, and then we'll get into the new gaming news. I watched the original Gladiator again, and it was good.
It's so good, dude. The Ridley Scott one with freaking.
Well, he's doing the second one too. Ridley Scott's doing the second one.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Does it have? Well, I guess. Spoilers: Russell Crowe and Joaquin Phoenix both die in the original Gladiator, but like
it's only 20 years old or 15 years old.
Are there any like recurring characters or anything like that?
Yeah,
so are like some of the surrounding cast.
The king. It's Joaquin Phoenix's sister's son from the first one.
And he's like a little
boy in the first one, and now in this one he is somehow a gladiator. I don't know how he becomes one.
Oh, weird.
But they do some shit, and then we'll get to the gaming news, I promise. They do some shit in this one. I haven't watched it, so I don't know, but I think that's the story. And I brought this up at our Hero Quest gaming thing, and I thought this was really crazy. The ingenuity of the Roman Empire and all this stuff is incredible, because I asked the guys if they had any interest in watching it, and Ben was just like, "Oh yeah." He's like, they're doing like boat battles now in the Colosseum. I'm like, what? I was like, that sounds
they did that back in the day.
I was like, that's so cheesy. And he goes, no, they really did. They would fill the Colosseum up with water, this huge arena with shark-infested fucking water somehow, and have boat battles. And I'm like, that's bullshit. He's like, no, they really did this. And I'm like, that's crazy. So can you imagine, like, how would they get all the water there? I know they had tributaries and they had all this stuff for their gardening and but it's crazy to think that back then they were able to transport enough fucking water into a coliseum that would house thousands of people to make it literally work like an ocean and have boats and sharks. Like, that's alien shit there, dude. Talking about aliens, like, they had help.
I will say, now that we're talking about it, I do want to watch this movie. That first movie, the movie's great. The whole movie's great. But dude, that opening fucking sequence where the Romans are battling the Germanic tribes,
the barbarians,
is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's fucking
it is
rad.
so awesome.
Yeah,
it's like literally like a Saving Private Ryan level like battle sequence with Anyway,
it's like Lord of the Rings without the fantasy.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Someone needs to make a movie that's all about medieval days. It's like legitimately just medieval and like fucking like Dark Ages, where like there's like Crusaders and shit. Like, I don't know, that'd be fucking rad.
It's not like a straight to DVD movie.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I thought about that, and I thought about, as we played the Hero Quest, it's about dungeon crawling, and like, you guys play Diablo and shit and all these dungeon crawling games, Demeo or whatever, Path of Exile. Could you imagine in real life if they were like, hey Jake, Fred, there's some scary shit down underground. There's no lights. You got to carry a torch, and here's a couple swords and a shield. Go fucking root it out. Could you imagine how fucking scary, like opening these old ass doors or going through these old archways and seeing skulls and like, I don't think that's obviously like a blown out of proportion version of what really happened back in the day. But if you were to make a movie about real dungeon crawling as if it was a real thing. Like here, these are the guys that you call when you're like a Witcher shit, but like without the magic, and just have it be brutal, and like it'd be fucking dope, like a medieval Avengers, like with just these guys, and maybe obviously not just men, like women, guys that are just like contracted to go clear out these fucking, like there would have to be like fucked up enemies though. You couldn't just fight other guys. It would have to be like, I don't know, man, it would be fucking rad. But you shoot it in such a way that the corridors are so tight, you got to get in single file, and someone's fucking leading with a shield and their sword up, not knowing what they're going to fucking get in touch with. It'd be fucking awesome. There's no movie like that. There needs to be one. I'd watch it. Like AAA, not made for TV shit, like you're saying, or even Netflix shit. I wanted like a 2-hour fucking romp of dungeon crawling that has you on the edge of your seat the whole time. All right, let's get into some news, man. We're going to talk about some news, some different things. And we've teased a little bit some of the topics. We talked about Alien a little bit. We talked about Troy Baker a little bit. We talked about some other things. And now, maybe Witcher-esque thing. We've got some news points that we're going to double back and touch on, which is why we just had the conversation we did. The first news point, Jake, I wanted to discuss this Amazon show that's coming out in December. The Amazon show is titled Secret Level. When Concord bombed, it became a big conversation that one of the nods that Secret Level or they're going to feature is going to be Concord related. Now, what Secret Level is it's an animation. It's going to be animated. It's an anthology that has episodes inspired by games that we love. So some of the games that offered inspiration are Sifu, Warhammer 40K, Pac-Man, Mega Man, Unreal Tournament, Armored Core, Spelunky, Honor of Kings, Dungeons & Dragons, Outer Worlds, Crossfire, Exodus, Concord, and just PlayStation in general. So I believe this series on Amazon is going to be episodic. And I actually love this idea. I didn't know what it was. I heard people talking about it, and I was like, what is this? Just like the making of the game? Which would be cool, but this is going to be like animated Pixar quality maybe. I've seen the trailer. It looks rad. Do you have the needle on this? Are you looking at this Secret Level shit? Are you dialed in? Have you done any research?
Not really, but I don't necessarily watch any of this video game TV content. I mean, like, obviously I've watched some of it, right? I watched Fallout, I watched Witcher, I watched Cyberpunk Edge Runners, and Last of Us. But like, this is one of those things where I'm just like totally out until I hear news that it's good.
The trailer looks like phenomenal.
It's like one of these things I'm not sure I'm interested in being hyped about, but maybe it's worth watching the trailer just to see what it looks like.
You should.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Yep. There's a trailer for it.
When's it come out?
December, soon. The other thing is while I was surfing around on Amazon Prime, they have a 4-part mini-series about the John Madden football games. About the inception of them to where they landed and the guys that were involved with. There was a guy that was working at NASA or something that like left his job to go work for whatever company it was, VGA something. I don't know what it was. Not Video Game Awards. It was like some sort of company that got involved with the early Madden games. I forget what this is not VGA. Don't quote me on that. I don't remember what the company was, but I knew of the name when I heard it in the show. I mean, this is a really cool mini series about Madden, and clearly it kind of comes off a little bit like a commercial for like the new Madden that's coming out, but very informative. A lot of cool shit if you're interested in that. And to be honest, I think a lot of people got their introduction into real football by playing Madden. I never played in high school or junior high or even Little Gritters. I never played football. I played backyard football. I didn't understand what these plays were, like the dime formation or like, the play action shit or the shotgun or you know what I mean? I didn't know what any of that shit was till I played Madden and learned it that way. So it's kind of cool that they had a big thing about it on Amazon. So I think it's a 4-part mini series if anyone's interested in watching that. So I've got nothing else about that. If you want to chime in, you can, or we can move on to the next news point.
No, we can move on. Maybe I'll check out that trailer at some point after the show.
Yeah, you should. You really should. It looks promising. The next news point is also interesting. Now, this is where we revisit the Alien conversation. So, the PS Plus games for December have been announced. It Takes Two is going to be one. This game won all kinds of awards. Temtem is one. But the other one is Aliens Dark Descent, which is the XCOM style strategy turn-based alien game that burnt me on the last freaking mission. There was a timer. There's an in-game timer, and if you don't do it, game over. And I never did watch the ending to this game. I bought the game full price, stoked on it, loved every second of it until the end, when I realized that my save was useless, because no matter what I did, I would go back into that game from a save point. It was impossible to beat the game from where it was saved. And I was like, this fucking chives me. I'm so mad about it.
Yeah.
So if you play this game, just be mindful of that timer, the world end timer. I mean, I guess maybe it's self-explanatory, but fuck, man, the game never says if this runs out, your game's over. But whatever. Anything about these games, Jake? You interested?
I mean, I'm, kind of interested in It Takes Two just because so many people, I mean, it's sold like 20 million copies or something. People really like it. But it's a co-op game, so I probably won't play it. And then, that Alien game, you played it and it sounds interesting, but that whole play clock thing just doesn't really sound appealing to me. Like I don't like being like rushed through my experiences with games. Mm-hmm. And it's probably it probably itches the same part of me, like irritates the same part of me that doesn't like roguelike games. Like I like to be able to take my time with games and not feel like I'm wasting anything or do whatever. And to get like all the way to the end of a game and then realize that because I didn't do A, B, C, and D, like it's impossible for me to beat it, like I'd probably shoot myself. Yeah. So like it's something that I'm interested in, but I probably won't play, to be honest with you.
Yeah. It's a good game, man. I really did like it. I just was really frustrated, I don't know, with the way it treated me. It's my own damn fault. I didn't respect it, maybe. It was the problem. I have a little note in the notes here, and this is all since changed since. So there is no GTA 6 trailer 2 announcement. So there was a leak that the GTA trailer, the second GTA 6 trailer, is going to be coming out in December, and it's recently been debunked. But it does bring about discussion, Jake. I mean, are we not maybe on the path to like getting another Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer? Didn't they say 2025 release on this?
They did, yeah. And I don't know, man. If they were like, it's one of those things where I could probably just not have another trailer or anything till it comes out.
And we got a good
totally
taste of it. Man, I don't know. I really want another one. That first trailer was so good.
But I would, if one comes out, I'll definitely watch it because I'm super curious about what. Because it was a cinematic trailer. We didn't get any like beat by beat gameplay or anything like that
we know of.
So I am kind of curious what that looks like. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I have to imagine that we're going to see something at the beginning of next year. Maybe even at the Game Awards in a couple of weeks, we'll see something about GTA 6.
That'd be my guess. I think a couple things, and that's maybe a discussion for next episode, what we hope to see at the Game Awards as far as trailers and announcements. Maybe we'll save that. We'll table that for next episode maybe. Moving forward, this next one is kind of interesting. Shuhei Yoshida. He was a big part of PlayStation for many years. Has announced that he's resigning, and maybe he's already gone. I'm not sure when. That was probably the end of the year. For those who don't know, he was a PlayStation executive, spent 31 years with PlayStation. He was a force for creativity within PlayStation and an advocate for a lot of unsung games and developers. Kind of sad to see this guy go. A lot of studios got online and were paying him a nod of respect, singing praises about him, and giving him a shout out. When this announcement was made. There's also a special episode. There's an official PlayStation podcast. I don't know if you guys listen to it or not, but it's very much controlled by PlayStation. So I'm not sure if the information you're getting is all, it's not very opinionated. Maybe it is opinionated or whatever. But why I bring this up is that Shuhei joined that podcast semi-recently to talk about his tenure with PlayStation. And it's probably a good listen. I haven't dialed it in, but I do plan to listen to it. And Shuhei did clarify on Twitter. Someone asked him if that's it for video games with him, and he essentially did say that he's going to try to stay in the industry, but he didn't elaborate any further or to what capacity. So what do you think of this news, Jake?
I think that it's kind of a bummer. Shuhei Yoshida was always one of those characters that everybody really liked. Super charismatic. Every time he got up on stage at like an E3 or a PSX or something like that, people really were stoked to see him. He always did a ton of interviews. He always did those one-on-ones with like the podcast Beyond guys for IGN and all of that. And he was really likable, and he greenlit some really amazing games. And then, like, including games like The Last of Us and stuff. Mm-hmm. But then in the last so many years, he's been sort of relegated to this, like, indie role while Herman Hulst kind of took over everything. And I just wonder if he's just not sick of riding the pine, as it were. I mean, yeah, he has done some stuff, but he's not really facing forward anymore. And I don't know if that's by his decision or by Sony's decision, but he really could be a good face of the industry for somebody. I mean, get out there and just like talk to people and really spend time cultivating new games and experiences.
Yeah.
And now maybe he doesn't want to do that. I don't know. But yeah, it's sad to see him go, but it seems kind of like his talents were being wasted a little bit within Sony, and maybe his time is up and he just wants to do something different, and who knows, maybe he'll start his own team or something. That would be kind of wild. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does next.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, I'm curious to see what he does. I mean, I don't know how old the guy is, but he probably has some fight left in him to do something creative. I'm going to put on my PlayStation fanboy hat for a second and just say, man, it's going to be kind of a bummer if Microsoft scoop him up in some capacity. That'll just be like weird. It'd be like an alternate universe situation, but I'm not ruling it out. He seems very, 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 very attuned to Sony and PlayStation. So unless they did him wrong, I can't imagine him playing for the other team. I think he might go independent, like you're saying, Jake. So he just seems very.
He has a family and stuff. So maybe that might mean he might want to stay in Japan or whatever.
Yeah, very good. All right, next news point, and there's not a launch date for this. And you and I were both pretty big advocates for Warhammer 40K Space Marines 2, but it has been confirmed for an update per Saber Interactive. A new patch is going to be rolling out, a new update to the game. It's going to be rolling out the first half of December. The patch will feature PS5 Pro boost capabilities, an extra operation for co-op, and new customizations as well. And that's just nice to see that a game like this is still getting the touch of finesse that it needs to keep people somewhat invested and keep it in the forefront of people's memories and minds. I like this game. I did go back and rewatch the ending on YouTube since I fell asleep when I beat it, which is a story for another day. I already talked about that, but I did miss quite a bit of the ending. I don't remember some of that, but interesting nonetheless. And they did kind of set it up for a sequel. So what a good game.
Yeah.
Great game.
Yeah, it was great, and I really, really enjoyed it, and I am stoked to see what they do with the next game. This update isn't really something that's gonna do much for me because I don't know that I have enough interest to go back and play like the operations, the extra operations or whatever. I
Right.
think like I have mentioned on the show before that I think it's a really awesome concept what they're doing with that, how it's like expands the story with these co-op missions or whatever. Um, but I just I don't think that it's something that I'm gonna, I'm not gonna probably boot Space Marine back up to
Yeah.
play these missions. So, um, but hopefully people are still playing it and they get a lot out of it, and it reinforces the fact that they definitely need to make another one.
Yeah, I agree. A game that I do want to boot back up is Alan Wake 2 and get those DLCs played because, man, what a great
Oh
game.
yeah, me too.
That game's a
for
fucking
sure.
gem. It's such a good gem.
It's very good.
All right, so moving forward, this is interesting. So, just when you think it's down for the count, we get a lot of VR2 shit. We got Metro Awakening. We've got some other games coming out too. Alien Incursion, I believe, is one that's coming out. And
Yeah.
we've got another one. And needless to say, there's a new PS VR2 commercial making its rounds. And it bodes well for the hardware going into 2025 for fans. And I just wonder what the implications are. Why is Sony? Is it because of the holiday and they're trying to sell the Horizon bundle? Maybe they're trying to get one last push out of it. I don't know. But to be clear, there's also another trailer I just saw for the 30th anniversary of PlayStation, and it was on the PlayStation's YouTube channel, and it was like pulling at the heartstrings, talking about family, adventure, all these things, and showing our favorite PlayStation people, characters. And it was really dope. And with that being said, I haven't done this yet, but this is breaking news. Anybody with a PlayStation 5, if you turn it off and turn it back on, you're going to get a nice 30th anniversary introduction screen, I believe. And Sony has done something that they've kind of outdone themselves from what I understand, is that you can choose the intro screen from PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, PS5. They're going to give you the option how you want it to look when it boots up. And I am so excited to see
That's cool.
that white screen from the PS1 show up. I'm going to do that tonight, and it's going to be dope. So I'm excited to do that. And I think they're also giving you some customization options for the home screen now. So some nice updates from Sony for the PlayStation 5. Make sure you take advantage of those this week and check that out. Anything about that, Jake?
No, I mean, I saw LJ messaged us about rebooting our consoles, and I was like, oh, they must have done something cool. But I didn't know that it didn't occur to me that it's related to the 30th anniversary, because I think it's technically tomorrow is the 30th anniversary of PlayStation, which is the December 3rd. But yeah, that's really neat. I'm excited to do it and be able to check out some of this old stuff, to go back, turn the page back a little bit, all the way back. I mean, I have experience with every single PlayStation console. I never owned a PS1, but I played a lot of PS1 at, like, I had a couple cousins that had them, so I played a lot with them. But I've owned every PlayStation console since then, with the exception of, I guess I didn't have a PSP, but
It's fucking awesome.
so yeah, I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see this.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me want to, like, thinking back on this stuff, it kind of makes me want to dig my PS2 out and just hook it up to my TV and, like, pop in a game of, like, one of my games or something, just to, like, get that experience again. But I don't even know if it still works. I'd be kind of curious to see if it actually still works.
Man. I'm sure it does. All right, we got just a few more news points. And this one, Jake, is something that you brought up earlier on the show. A video game related content that you did indulge in. Cyberpunk, the animated series that was on Netflix, apparently is going to happen again. CD Projekt Red is teamed up with Netflix once more. And there was a special announcement trailer that showed. And it was like the Netflix logo and the CD Projekt Red logo and like some cyberpunk, like fucking flair, just imagery. And I'm going to admit, man, this is awesome. This is very cool. I really enjoyed this mini series or this animated series that they did. And I will say, jumping on that news point, is that CD Projekt Red again have pulled off the impossible. They had such a terrible launch with this game. And while we won't forget how bad it was, no one can deny how good Cyberpunk 2077 is now. And it has sold 30 million copies. And the DLC, Phantom Liberty, has now sold 8 million copies. It's a lot of fucking game to move. And, there's something about this studio that, like, I just hope that they've learned. I just hope that they've learned from the shitty release this time. And that, whatever they have coming down the pike, they give it proper attention before release. That's all. They make great games. They know how to make a good game. So anyways, anything on any of this?
So, did you watch Edge Runners?
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, it was so good, but it kind of fucked me up a little bit. Like I don't have any interest. I have like no interest in watching it again because it is intense. That show is fucking
and it's a like cartoon, which is hilarious.
The most intense 6 episodes of TV I think I've ever seen, and it's amazing. And so I am really interested in seeing what they have next with regard to the next animated series. I assume it's going to be a different protagonist or whatever.
It's still in Night City, they said, yeah.
Right. And then with regard to them selling 30 million copies of Cyberpunk, I mean, it's a great game. So that's really good for them. Hopefully, whenever they release the next one, it doesn't release in a fucking horrible state, and that they actually learned their lesson and didn't just like say, "Oh, well, we sold 30 million copies anyway. Who fucking cares?"
Yeah.
And because that's always something that can happen whenever you've got shareholders and things that you have to sort of appease. But it's kind of crazy to see that Phantom Liberty has sold 8 million copies. I still haven't played it, but I've been thinking more and more about possibly doing a new playthrough of Cyberpunk, and then because it's got the new update with the new leveling system.
Did you
and
do
everything,
Phantom Liberty? Have you done Phantom Liberty?
No, I don't even own it. So
it's
and then
a masterpiece.
playing through that, and yeah, I've heard it's really good. That's one reason why I think I might go back to it, is just to play the Phantom Liberty stuff.
That should be a standalone fucking game. Phantom Liberty is phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard it's really good. So I think one of these days, maybe within the next year or whatever, that'll be one of my backlog titles that I get to. I just get so like, it's like every time I start a game where it's like, oh, this is going to be another fucking 40 hours. Mm-hmm. It's like, I have a hard time starting experiences like that. So, but I'm sure once I get started with it, I'm going to absolutely love it.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah. It's one of those DLCs I bought because I knew I needed to play it. And I was like, if I don't buy this, I'm never going to play it. And if I don't force myself to buy it, I'm never going to buy it. So I just forced myself to buy it. I was like, I'm pulling the trigger and buying this thing, and then I know I'll play it. Anyways, it's worth buying. 2 more quick news points. Talking about CD Projekt Red. This is worthy of its own time capture. The Witcher 4 is now in full production. Bring it on, man. I'm all in. I'm all in on this. Whether or not I'm going to buy it on day one, I don't even know. It seems like I shouldn't. But I'm so stoked about it. So stoked about it. I don't know. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
It'll be years before it comes out.
I'm excited for the next Witcher game. The Witcher 3 was great. But remember, just like Cyberpunk, The Witcher 3 was fucking horrible at launch. And we didn't have that problem because we played it later. You and I played it later. But before we got to it, it launched in a pretty bad state. Not as bad as Cyberpunk, don't get me wrong. So it's one of these things where it's like, I'm excited for the next CD Projekt game whenever it's in its functional state, whatever that means. So, if The Witcher comes out and it's perfect at launch, then I'm going to be all up this game's butt because I really liked The Witcher 3. I thought it was a little long, if I'm being honest. I think just the main campaign without doing all the side quests and everything took me over 100 hours. And but like the DLCs for that game were also incredible. And I'm excited to see what they have next with Geralt and Ciri and all these other yahoos in the Witcher universe. Because like every time we talk about The Witcher, I think, man, it'd be cool to like download that game and play it again. But it's just so long. But even just playing it for a little bit is kind of cool. Just like that music and being back in that world and like, yeah. There's a PS5 patch for it, isn't there? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it runs good on the PS5. It does. It's, man, I just, yeah, man, it's just a powerhouse of a game. That's all I can say. It's just good. It's just good. I never really quite played anything like that game. That game blew my hair back. I don't know. There is a patch, though. It does run very smoothly on the PS5. I dabbled in it briefly, and I was like, this game's too much for me. I can't get back into this. I can't do this. I can't go back down into the mine. I may never make it back out.
If I get to a point where I'm just kind of like bored with games, that's like the time whenever I like to jump back into games like this.
I just remember how pretty Skellige was. When I got the Skellige, I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
The snowy mountainous area. Oh, man.
I don't know. I mean, I'm getting to a point where I'm just kind of like, I don't know what to play next. So I might pick up one of these games and give them a go for like my Christmas vacation. But we'll have to see. Because what's it? Indiana Jones is coming out. I don't know if I'm going to play that right away or if I'm going to wait till it comes to PS5.
I don't like that it's first person. I'll tell you that right now. We haven't really talked about it, but we don't need to get into it. I just don't like that it's a first person game.
I get that, but I mean, you also don't want it to be like a carbon copy
I'll say
of
this.
Uncharted either.
The only reason it doesn't sit well with me, platforming in first person usually sucks, and melee combat usually sucks in first person. So if they haven't figured out how to dial that in so it feels natural, it's going to suck. It's just melee combat in first person is a whip. How is that going to work? How is punching somebody going to ever feel good in first person? It never does. It always feels so jank. I've never played a game where punching somebody in first person has felt good.
Yeah, we'll just have to see. Because I'd like to give it a try, but I don't know. Like if it's gonna run like shit. I only have a Series S. I don't have a Series X. I could play it on my PC, I guess. But like, if it's gonna run like crap, then I'll just wait till it comes out on PS5 and play it on that. But I'm excited to see how it turns out. I mean, we're kind of leading into the next news point. Troy Baker plays Indiana Jones. And based on the trailer, he does like I mean, I haven't played the game obviously, but in the trailers, he does a pretty good job of imitating Harrison Ford. It's pretty unique. So,
well, he is.
I'm
talented.
kind of curious to see how it plays out.
He's a talented voice actor. And speaking of Troy Baker, he is been Called to arms by Naughty Dog. He's coming back to Naughty Dog, and we don't know in what capacity. The new game, whatever that might be, right? We don't know. But people are like, well, is it being that he's had roles in both Uncharted and The Last of Us? He plays Joel in The Last of Us. He plays Nathan Drake's brother in Uncharted. Is it going to be one of those games? Or is he just going to play a new role in a new game? I don't know. Time will tell.
Yeah, we don't know if it. I mean, we don't even know if it's something where he's gonna even be a starring role in it. He may be even like a supporting character or something like that, or like he maybe even like a cameo or something. We just know that he's working on something with Naughty Dog. So, is it a Last of Us? Is it a Uncharted? Is it a new IP? How can we know? I will say that even though I'm a big fan of Troy Baker, Sam in Uncharted 4 is like one of my least favorite roles of his. So, not that he did a bad job, I just don't like that character. Yeah. So, I think part of that is just being a little bit stung by the fact that it's like, oh, this is the last Uncharted game, and we're going to introduce a brand new character and focus on him instead of wrapping up, like I would much rather Uncharted 4 have been like one last romp with like Sully rather than the Sam character. Although, you kind of get that in Uncharted 3 or whatever, but it's a little bit of a digression. I think that whatever it is, I'm sure he'll do a great job. No need for the internet to get butthurt, but they will anyway because of who even knows. Everybody's always upset about something, and I will say that whatever it is, if Naughty Dog's making it, it's going to be a great game, whether or not it's for you. So, they don't make objectively bad games, or at least they haven't in recent memory. So I'm looking forward to it, whatever it is, and I'm looking forward to whatever his performance is. So
well said. Yeah, I agree with all that. Well, everybody, that wraps up our show. That was the news. That was the games we're playing. That was some early on discussion. Again, if you'd like to tune in to the podcast, we air every week on Wednesdays. If you're a patron of the show, you can tune in a day early, usually, and we'll also send you some cool shit. That being said, Jake, how about we quit this podcast because it's almost 8 o'clock at night, and I've been up since 6 this morning, and I'm ready to take a Motrin to take care of my headache, and I'm ready to get all this compiled for our lovely listeners today. So, do you have anything you'd like to say before we leave?
'Tis the season, and working on a little bit of a new Christmas jam. I'm excited to work on it some more. I really like doing these little like one-off songs. I think it's really fun, and
I can't even say that I think it's a good song. I think it's got potential. I think with the whole band, it could be good.
"'Tis the Season's not a good song, but it's fun. Like that's the whole point of it.
I think it's a good song. And by the way, thanks for the reminder. We are now into December, so we are going to abuse the listeners. So the closing track of today's show is going to be "'Tis the Season" by Fred Oakman and the Flood. We are now in our holiday. Every year, we will be playing this song in the month of December. So at the end of our show,
who knows? Maybe a new jam will perk up
at the very end of the year. Yeah, we're trying to get one finished for you, another Christmas jam. I'm excited about this song. I don't think it sucks, don't get me wrong. It's just different for us, and I think it could be good. Has Sarah listened to it at all? Is she at all about it? She's been mum.
I don't know. She was kind of under the weather the last couple of days, so I don't know if she's really had much time to listen to it. But Yeah, I think it's nice and catchy. You listen to it a couple times and it gets you moving a little bit. It really boils down to how the arrangement comes together.
Yeah.
And that's why like I'm eagerly awaiting what Nate comes up with on the drums. And obviously Troy always likes to throw his own little flavor on everything. And
Yeah. And then we get the backup vocals,
whatever
some bells, some saxes. Yeah.
bullshit we throw on top of it. Yeah.
I think it's going to be good. I think it could be good.
Some freaking horns and shit. Yeah.
I appreciate you taking the time.
It'll be fun regardless.
Yeah. We needed to do something like that. All right. Well, let's.
Too bad we don't have any shows to play it live.
I know.
Because like we did when we did 'Tis the Season.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway,
These songs will always sound better recorded, I think, because we
that's
give them
true. That is very true.
The Christmas, whatever you want to call it, touch. All right. Well, anyways, thanks for tuning in. We're out of here. We'll catch you next week. Like Killzone, Cart Attack in Karateka. P.S. This is awesome. Tis the season.